Hi, gang. New style of video. It's my final year of art school, and I'm making my thesis, like the full final thing, and I'm very excited about it. And I felt like it was sort of necessary, and also just for like fun, to make a series of videos talking about like making that sort of thing in my last year of art school, both to memorialize it and also just to like immerse myself within it some more. And I've been thinking about starting these videos for a while, so this one will probably be longer than the other ones, because I just have like a lot more like on the back burner. It's a little difficult for me to start this video, and I was sort of struggling with how, but I think the easiest way for me to do it is to just start with the pitch and just explain to you what Lightport is. It's the name of it's the short name of my graphic novel. I'm making the first chapter of it, and I'd be thrilled if you stayed along for the ride. Yeah, let's get into it. Murder at Lightport Island. A salmon man returns to his hometown after his prolific writer father passes away. He lives in his father's shadow, the citizens of the town asking him to be something he isn't. All he's here for is to sell his father's house and leave the island town behind. The only two problems is that there's a killer on the loose, and the house is haunted. A series of murders begin to besiege the town, and now Bill has to reconcile not only with the relationship with his estranged childhood friends, Hogue, a sailor with a broken past, and Mel, a disillusioned single mother, but his idealized version of his father to save the town. My audience is early to mid-20-somethings. I've seen a great deal of comics with furry characters that are used as a shorthand for personal diary comics, romances, etc. They're great at shorthand. I reference this like sort of idea through Scott McCloud's through Understanding Comics. And furry characters make easily digestible messengers for a story that is ultimately about grief and untangling family connections that can no longer be mended. This is my mood board. We were asked to give a sort of like shorthand to like what the comic will look like. Really just like paint a picture in people's minds. A big inspiration is David Lynch, specifically Fire Walk With Me. Lightport wouldn't exist without me seeing this fucking movie. We also have Alexander Rostov, who's the artistic director for Disco Elysium. Fantastic, gorgeous backgrounds, beautiful painted stuff. Of course, I had to put Kim Kitsuragi on there, my goat. As well as Stephen Gamble, who's the illustrator for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Who's a big inspiration since my childhood, because this shit used to keep me up at night as a boy. And of course Dave McKean, one of my favorite works being Arkham Asylum. I can't believe my heater came on right now. Another big inspiration is Hanna-Barbera and UPA, and like this like really beautiful stylistic like 50s, like real flat, everyone's got little tiny legs and big noses and mouths and little tiny eyes. Obsessed. Gorgeous. And we have the three main characters. We have Bill Callahan, of course, our main character. We have Hogue, who's the seal in the middle. And then we have Mel, who is a mallard on the end. This is a really rough lineup. In all honesty, these character designs are a little old. But for the presentation, we didn't have to have like tons and tons of new, fresh art, just as long as like you can get the point across. And so this was like something that I was working with. And Mel is a little on the rougher side, specifically because she wasn't originally part of the main cast. She was just going to be a sort of like much minor character, and I think like after doing like an outline for the entire story, I think it's vital for Mel to be a part of it. And she's easily like, I love all three of them, but Mel is, I have a serious soft spot for Mel. I'm obsessed with her. And then finally, I think for what I have for the presentation is like stuff that I was doing over the summer. And again, this is all like really like fast and loose stuff. Murder at Lightport Island is like the big piece that I wanted to work with, but that wasn't like, I can't bring that to the table and just expect that to be like the only thing I bring. It had to be like two other pitches with this, but this is the one I knew I was going with, and so I was just like, let me just get started on like some like very, very loose concept stuff, including a Hogue turnaround that I will probably finish at some point. A big part of my deliverables, because that's like a whole conversation you have to do, is like, what are you making for the semester, and essentially like a sort of like plan for all the things that you're going to make within a semester or 2 semesters, because you can do 2 projects, but I choose to do 1 over the course of a year just because this one's going to be so time intensive. And so I was talking about doing turnarounds, and like literally every professor I spoke to was like, you're doing comics, you don't need to do turnarounds, because turnarounds are usually used for animation. But they make really nice portfolio pieces if you're trying to go into production, that sort of thing. So I have a lot of friends doing that now, but I don't have to. Huzzah! And then we also have like some very loose concept art for a frogfish typewriter ghost. This is the one that's going to be in the house. Spoilers, but I really like this design. And Hogue's boat rental down here, this like little blue building, as well as like some other like very loose ghost designs that you will probably, I can't make heads or tails of now, so I doubt you will. And one thing that I am really aiming for in terms of like my designs for the monsters and the ghosts is I see a lot of stuff online where it's like, let's make something spooky, and it's like, let's do a lot of teeth and a lot of eyes and a lot of hands, and I grew up playing Five Nights at Freddy's, and so I've been like in like the whole like lore of online internet horror for middle schoolers and beyond. And I just can't do it anymore. I need to step out of that. I need to step away from that. And I think like a really excellent part of looking at this sort of stuff is, I think, a really good way to understand like what you want is to notice about like the stuff that you don't like and understand specifically why you don't like it. In the same way that you look at stuff that you do like and understand why you do like it. Lightport is an amalgamation of both of those platonic ideals. But enough of this chit chat and this constant yammering about projects that could be and ideas that may be to come. It's time to sit down and actually hang out at my studio. Huzzah!
Yeah, and so this, I took this footage like a couple months ago at this point. This video has taken a lot longer to edit than I'd like, which is fine. It gives me a lot of time to sort of look back at like the things that I've been doing. This is about late August, very early September at the latest. At that point, I have made, or at least I'm making like decent progress on this like dummy book that I made, which is essentially just all 32 pages of the chapter, really roughly sketched out, values placed, panels, because I wanted to get all the composition and specifically placement of pages between in a fun and interesting way, and I wanted to make sure that everything like worked together before I started making like final art, because it would break my heart if I spent all this time like making all these big traditional pieces only for things to kind of not work out or be planned in the final printing of the book as I would like it to. So this is just me sketching out the first splash. It's like a sort of it's just like it's there. Nothing super special. I like using thicker paper because I can glue a lot of other stuff on it. And we transition to the sort of Flight of the Bumblebees-esque part of my process, which is just scraping through magazines. This is the part that takes the longest, and starting these pieces are always the hardest. You'll see over here that the start of it is not super promising. At least at this first glance, a lot of building up small, like bigger shapes and then smaller ones later. So this was about like, I want to say it was about like a class period. So that was about like 5 or 6 hours. Because I know for a fact that I spent hours in the studio working on it too. I was really struggling with the values on that, with the clouds and the mountains, but I liked all the textures of the water and the sand. And you can watch me continue. I spent so long. I depleted that entire casing of rubber cement in less than a semester, which is impressive. It usually takes me about like a year to get through one of those, but this was like, I've made so many of these pieces already, so but it was like a lot of fun. And then I moved on to like a lot of smaller pieces, which I don't have a ton of footage for, unfortunately, but we have like adding the lighthouse, which was made of like construction paper and wax paper for the little glass part, the little house, which was all construction paper and like colored pencil. It's super teeny tiny. I really liked making it. And then it's like finally time to put it all together. You got a total spoiler right there. But this was the final splash page. I wanted, in the panel that it's depicting, Bill, the main character, is looking out onto his like father's house, and it's like sort of ominous and moody. And I am just like adding like a lot of digital effects. I didn't want to make the characters traditionally, because it would be genuinely impossible to finish everything in time, and then doing like, it's really nice to do like these digital effects, like adding like that rim light on the lighthouse and adding those posts in the front, but not having to worry about like futzing with the actual drawing itself. Adding the fog, I add like a fun texture onto like his coat, a lot of like shading, just trying to get like everything to fit and feel together. And then that's me adjusting those values because I got it wrong in the traditional piece, so I'm paying it now, working on the digital one, but it wasn't too bad. Blending layers, my beloved. And now finally we're going really fast. We are assembling all of this together. So now this is like the most current footage that I have. This is about November. I have like a few other pieces that I'm going to show, hopefully in other videos, but for just time's sake, I was focusing purely on this one. And here's another thing. I struggled the most with this splash page, just because it was the first one I made, and you could see that the ratio was wrong. The panel's much wider than the piece itself, and so it was a lot of like doing some like doctoring and painting over, and just like kind of like, this is like me saying like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. You're like watching me futz and bullshit my way around making something that looks nice, and like just watching like my process of like adding these like little digital characters. The dummy has been like instrumental, and also like saving a lot of these like other textures that I have. You can see me like kind of drop and place those. I've been collecting them for about like 2 years, or about like a year and a half now. And it's been super useful for like digital collaging. If you're doing anything like this, I'd highly suggest it. But yeah, this is like final touches essentially. And I'm finally adding like text and things. Again, the dummy is also super great for that, because now I don't have to worry about, I know exactly where text is gonna go, so I never have to worry about like things being out of place, or I'm worried about like, oh shoot, like where am I gonna place text? It's covering up all my cool stuff. Never have to worry about that, because I did all the heavy lifting weeks and weeks and weeks ago. So now I can just do all the fun stuff, like painting in shadows and textures, and adding like this like rough paper thing for like his internal dialogue, just to keep it like really thematically appropriate. You can see that I'm trying to do like a text thing. I'm like writing over the text, but I didn't like it, and it was just gonna be more work and more time that I didn't have. And that was it. That was the whole thing. It was really satisfying putting all of that together, and just seeing like the full page. Like, I think I sat down, I looked at it, and then I immediately went to go print it and put it on my desk. And it's so surreal seeing what was essentially like over the course of like 2.5 months worth of work, just like open and there to hold on to. And it was a very surreal feeling, and I'm very excited to have more pages like that. But yeah, that's the piece, and that's essentially the video.
You stayed all the way to the end. 10 William points and a gold sticker for me. Thank you for watching. A lot of time has transpired. You can sort of tell by my hair, but a lot of time has transpired since the intro to that video. I think that was early September, and now it is the 15th of November, not to date myself too badly. I have a lot of pieces that I've made in between this time. I decided to condense it, even though it's like a little bit of like a longer video. It's still wildly condensed, because unfortunately I didn't spend a ton of time recording and saving images, or like the process of them, because I had this one here because I needed more time to work. My mid-year presentation where I show all my pieces it's a month from today, so scary, but I have a ton more work to show you. I have like a few more like larger projects that I have like recorded that I would like to share at some point. Those will probably be a December, January deal, but if you see another video from me, a special treat from me to you. But yeah, thanks again. Classic YouTuber stuff, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell your neighbor's dog, and I will see you in the next one.